Here on Indie Style, we'll feature successful entrepreneurs from across the globe who are making incredible strides in their industry. You may not know their names yet, but you soon will. I'm Leah DeVon, and this is Indie Style. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Indie Style. I am your host, Leah DeVon. Well, today we have a wonderful show planned for you today. We have an award-winning Afrocentric abstract artist who's actually from my hometown. We go way, way, way back, and I've always been a really big fan of his work, so I'm so happy that I finally get to introduce you guys to my friend, the very talented Art Jenkins.
Hey, Leah.
Hey,
How
Art.
are you? Good to see you.
It is good to see you. I tell you, it's like we go way back. Way, way, way back.
Gymnastics days.
I know, right? Jim, oh my gosh. That's way back. Well, to all of our wonderful viewers, you know, I grew up in Fort Walton Beach, Florida, and Art is from my hometown. He is a dear family friend of my parents and, of course, of all of us in my family. And, you know, Art has a very special gift of art. So I'm excited to talk to you because, you know, growing up, I've always seen your work in your shop. And, you know, my dad, Mr. Lee Bobo, he's a big fan of your work. And so I was like, let's bring on Mr. Art and let's talk about your work. So, where did your love of art begin? Did you attend art school? Are you a self-taught artist? How did it all begin for you?
It all began, I'm a neighborhood artist. I met two gentlemen that lived in my apartment building. And one of them lived directly across the hall from me, and the other one lived downstairs from me. The guy who lived across the hall from me, he was an artist who drew and painted. And one day I just seen him in the hallway, and he was just sitting on the ground, and he was drawing. And I just kept looking, and he says, "You want to learn how to do this?" And I said, "Sure." And he gave me a piece of paper, and I just tried to copy everything that he did. Mm-hmm. And he says, "Oh, you're pretty good at it." He says, "Just continue on with it." So my first teachers were not actually school teachers. My first teachers were actually people who lived in my apartment building. And there was a gentleman who lived downstairs. His name was James Jackson, who was a wood carver. And I used to watch him every day carving wood. And one day he asked me, "You want to learn how to do it?" I said, "Sure." And he taught me how to carve wood. A lot of people don't know I carve wood, but I know how to do it. And like I said, my first teachers were people who lived in my building. Mm-hmm. And as I moved on to school, elementary school, I did all the things the kids do. Bulletin board guy. If you need somebody to draw your map in history class or draw the Indians and Cowboys and stuff, I was your guy.
That guy.
Yeah. 50 cents or a quarter, I would do it.
Okay. So basically you just naturally are gifted. I could sit and watch somebody paint and say, "Okay, Leah, copy that." And it would just be a big mess. You just have a gift to do it. So you have to receive that you have the gift to do what you do. Because most people, this is my opinion, you know, you can have a mentor, but they don't do the type of work that you do. So you just really are blessed with the gift of naturally being able to do what you do so well.
Well, I tell you what, I tell people this all the time. There are artists who are talented. There are people who learn to paint and draw. Like I said, I had the gift to paint and draw. Once I learned that I had it, when I got to elementary school and got to middle school, that's when I got teachers who taught me, you know, how to really paint, how to understand colors, and how to do the certain techniques that you need to do. But I had the natural ability to be able to draw and paint, and it came very, very easily to me, you know. And as I moved on up into high school, most people knew that I could paint and draw, and I used to do wood carvings for girls, make jewelry, earrings, and things of that nature. So, and those were from, like I said, once the teachers found out that you had the gift, they would tell you, "You have the gift to do it."
Yeah, you do have the gift to do it.
And I had good teachers. That's one of the things that my teachers were very good, and they took an interest, and that was the number one thing. They took an interest.
That's a good thing. You know what I mean? Like when somebody kind of sees your vision of something that you're passionate about and something that you're gifted at. See, I didn't know you were a wood carver, so I'm learning something new about you today. And it's interesting. I think we have featured maybe one other artist on our show, and I've just always been very, interested and enamored because that's something I just cannot do. You know what I mean? I was just always that kid. I could write neat, but coloring and drawing was just exhausting. But that just was not my gift. And I was always very in awe of people that could do it and do it well. So it's very interesting to me because, your paintings, they're just so vibrant, like the colors and like the color palettes that you choose to do your work. They're just so like, they pop up, the screen, or I'm sure if somebody was watching it like at an art show, it would grab their attention just because the color palette is just so
right.
Wow. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, my main thing that when I first started painting, I guess you could say, it was always things like flowers and fruits and things of that nature, still lifes and things like that. But as I got older, and when I got I think it was my senior year in high school, that I started really being creative with my art, starting to get away from the traditional things and started using things that were coming to me in my head and in my mind. And that's when the real gift came out, the creative gift of having a vision to see things that other people couldn't see. So a lot of times when I paint, the colors I see, I'll start out in black and white. I'll do a lot of pen and ink, and that's black and white. And then I see the colors. And when I see the colors and in black and white, it just flows. I think it's a God-given gift that, I tell my friends, everybody can't do it because I have friends who are artists. They can draw what they see.
Right.
And I have friends who can create it. I have the ability to draw what I see or paint what I see, but I also have the ability to create. And like, I never have artist block, I guess you could say. A lot of times people say, I have artist block. I don't have artist block because when I can't see it, I can create it out of my head. And I think that's the gift that God given me.
Yeah, because it's just it's pretty amazing. Like, so what is it that you use that you paint with? See, I'm like not an artsy person, so tell me, what kind of paint is it that you use? What is it called?
I normally, when I first learned to paint, I used oils. And as I got older, I was introduced to acrylics. And once I found out what the difference between the two paintings were, and I realized that oil was more of has a chemical substance in it, and it has a smell, and sometimes the fumes itself can make you sick. Well, I got away from that and got with acrylics, which has a plastic resin in it, and it dries faster, and you have to work faster with acrylics. Yeah.
Okay, so how long does it take you, like, to do a painting? Because they're really, really, really intricate. Like,
well, I tell you this, I wish I could tell you that, because I never start a painting and just paint straight through. So what I'm doing is sometimes I got a balance of 4 or 5 different things that I'm doing. I may have a drawing over here, I have a pen and ink over here, I might have a charcoal over here, and I'm painting. So today I'm coming in, I might work 45 minutes on a painting. And sometimes I have to stop because sometimes you, as an artist, you say, oh, I'm getting too far deep into it. Let me move on to something else. And then I'll look at it for 2 or 3 days and then I'll come back. So the way I do it is sometimes I monitor the hours. So I may have, say, 50 or 60 hours in a piece. And the way I do that is because I look at the time that I start and the time that I finish, and I put the number of hours on it. And I always tell people that's how you can, I guess you could say, figure out how much you're going to charge for something by hourly wage as an artist. And a lot of artists have a hard time pricing their work, and that's the way I price my work.
Your hour. Let's take a look, Mikey. Let's take a look at some of his pieces that they're just awesome. And you can maybe tell us. Okay, so the one on the left with the microphone looks like, is that Marvin Gaye?
That's Marvin Gaye, and it's called the Motown Sound. And it's done in pen and ink and color pencil. I work with pen and ink in a lot of my pieces, and I work in pen and ink and Prismacolor pencil and Fantasia pencils. Those are different variations of pencils. The other one to my right is Africana. And that was taken from an older picture of an old African lady. And then I came back and I did all the intricate pieces about it. And basically it speaks to Mother Nature or Mother Africa. And if you look in it real close, there's what I say, warm and cool. The cool colors venture out to be for men, and the warm colors venture out to be for women. And it's very intricate, and it has the roots, and it's an African piece, and it speaks to where we come from, our heritage, and things of that nature.
Oh, I love the one with the, okay, so the mama's braiding her baby's hair and the baby's braiding her baby doll's hair. Right. I love that one. That's so...
It's called Tradition. The title of it is Tradition. And it actually came from my wife religiously every morning at 6 o'clock. She would get up and do my daughter's hair. And I would sit there sometime and I just watch it. And then one day I just sketched it real quick. And then I turned it into a painting. It's really speaks to the African American society, because most African women know the drill, you know.
Yeah.
Braid your hair, get your hair. And my daughter, she go to school every day and she play in the sand, and sand would be in her hair every day. And her mom would be so mad, but every morning, like clockwork,
she'd get
up at 6 and do her hair.
Right.
The one to the right is a tribute to O'Keeffe. Georgia O'Keeffe is one of my favorite artists. And what I did with her piece is, sometimes I look at Georgia O'Keeffe's work and I don't try to do it exactly like Georgia O'Keeffe, but what I do, I put my twist on the Georgia O'Keeffe piece. And that's what I did. I added different colors, but the concept came from Georgia O'Keeffe. I did a series of her pieces with my design and my touch to it.
Okay. What was that? Papa's hat. See, I was studying.
It's amazing because that's my grandson, and that hat he has on is my hat.
Oh, and wow.
When his mother was his age, I had a tennis set. I used to be an old tennis player, so his mother had a hat, and I did a picture of his mom with her little tennis hat on. So I did one of him when he was a little boy with my hat turned around backwards.
Oh wow!
And that is done in graphite pencil. The one to my right is his first trolley car ride. We went to New Orleans, and that's the first time he had ever been on a trolley car. And everybody looks at the picture and they think he's praying, but he was just turned around to the seat and he had his hand up, and it almost looked like he's praying. I had another one of him, and he was just laying on the floor and he was just laughing. So, and what I did was I did it in charcoal, but the original piece that was done, they both were done in acrylic paints, and I sold them to later, and I didn't have any prints made. Yeah.
Those, I mean, I'm very, I'm honored that you kind of let me. I went and I looked at some of the ones. I mean, there were so many to choose from, but those are the ones that my eyes just kind of gravitated to, that I thought were so poignant and just so beautiful. And I knew there was a message behind it. And of course, I'm one of 4 girls, so my mama did that drill every morning. You know, she'd get out of bed, do everybody's hair. So that one really did the drill. I love that. So let me ask you this. So do you feel like your art like helps you in other areas of your life?
I would say, I tell you what it does do. And I tell people all the time, if you have some type, people say it's a hobby. Well, I do it on a professional level now, but it releases stress. That's one of the things that it does do, you know. And once I get into a piece of artwork or something, everything blocks out. Everything goes away. You know, I mean, if I had a bad day, I go in the studio and I get to paint on something and I just lose track of time. Like most artists do, you lose track of time. I look up, it's 4 o'clock in the morning and I know I got to get in bed. Yeah, 4 o'clock in the morning. Yeah.
Wow. So you're like in your zone and your
definitely
place of.
Yeah. I tell you this. I tell you, this is a little funny thing that I always say. I told my wife one time, I said, you know, you will never have to be jealous of a woman, but you will definitely have to be jealous of my art. And she says, what do you mean by that? I says, well, once I get into my art, I says, I lose all track of time. And what'll happen is I'm so deep into it every day. Now she's asking me, she says, well, how long are you going to be? It's almost like, well, what time did you get up? What time did you go to bed? You know, and that's what happens with artists. You know, I have no time, you know, and what I'm saying is, you know, I work a regular job. So when I get home, sometimes I go in the studio at 10 o'clock. I might not come out of the studio till 4 in the morning, but it's not on purpose. It's just that when I look up, I say, oh God, it's 4 o'clock. because I'm so into whatever it is that I'm doing. And I think most artists operate on that schedule like that.
Oh, wow. That's incredible. That's like, like, because, wow, I have a lot of respect for that. So let me ask you this. So what would you consider like your greatest accomplishment?
Wow. My greatest accomplishment.
Thus far.
I would say my greatest accomplishment, opening my own business. That was opening my own business, you know,
Yeah.
being my own, I guess you could say your own man, opening your own business. That's my greatest accomplishment so far, because I stumbled into what my I guess you could say real job. I stumbled into my real job.
Really?
Yeah. What I did was it was a prayer, and the prayer was, God, give me something that I could be my own man, my own person, and I don't have to answer to anyone. And like the man say, may not be there when he wanted, but he was right on time. And believe me, I never said I wanted to be a barber. Okay, I want you to know that. That was just something that came about. But what I realized, I caught on to it quickly because of the artistic talent. Mm-hmm. So, you know, when you see all these guys nowadays with all these fancy things in their head and all that kind of stuff, when I first got into business, my artistic skills were good because I had people come in who were dancers and people who music or whatever, and they wanted to, I just did it for them, you know, because I had artistic ability. So it helped me in that phase too.
Yeah. I remember, you know, Mr. Art's been cutting my daddy's hair for, like, how long has your business been open?
We've been, come September, end up being 30 years.
Wow.
But I've been doing it for 33 years.
Wow, that's so amazing. And like, just FYI, my little boy Jackson turned 8. Mr. Art was cut his hair when he had his first haircut. We took him to your barber. Do you remember? We won't. We'll keep that between us about that when he got his first haircut. It was just like, oh, I'm so glad you know us, and it's like family. Okay, but anyway, but I get what you're saying, though. That is another artistic part, and that's something that kind of goes hand in hand. So let me ask you this question. So I know you've been in all these art shows all over the place, and you're an award winner, and you're just so talented at what you do. And if, you know, there is this, I guess, somebody up and coming that's like trying to do what you're doing, like, tell me some tips for success. Give me like 2.
Put God first. Have your priorities straight, and know that everything takes discipline. And some people get the discipline at an early age. Some people get it at an older age. Knowing that it takes a lot of discipline to do what you do, you know. And I tell people all the time, people always ask me, you know, how do you find time to do the artwork? I say it's a discipline. It's a discipline. You know, I that's all I can say, because I do something every day, you know, artistic wise, whether it be painting, whether it be drawing, whether it be framing, whatever it has to deal with art. I do something every day. And that's with any job you have. You have to be disciplined to do it. You have to find it. Always people say, well, how do you find the time? I said, there's no such thing as lost time. You have to make the time. That's what I do. I make the time. That's what I tell people. And I've been doing art all my life. And I have to make
do it so well. And it's so interesting because people from all over are looking at your, you know, your art, because I was, you know, of course, studying, you know, and researching your work. And it's amazing how many eyes in different places. It's amazing how people from all over the world can find you through the beauty of the internet. So I love that. And I'm so glad I got a chance to really, you know, look at your art and study it. And I was just like so enamored, because like I said, when you see somebody do something so well that like, like, can I just stay in the line? It's very inspiring. So I'm really glad that I had a chance to finally kind of get you on and, you know, talk about what you do and how you do it so well. Because I really kind of feel like people who are artists that are self-taught, that have kind of like what you said, sort of like mentors, it is truly a blessing and it's a gift. So thank you for sharing your gift with us. And let me ask you a question. If where can we find you on social media?
You can find me at fineartistinamerica.com. And you can find me at Art Jenkins Creative Innovations on Facebook, Art Jenkins on Instagram, and I think it's Art Jenkins and Black Artists in America. I'm in the H&H Gallery here in Fort Walton Beach.
Mm-hmm.
And also they can find me at Mr. J's Barbershop, because my barbershop / gallery, I turned my barbershop into a gallery. So, you know.
Yeah. Yep. His artwork is everywhere and it's so beautiful. And, you know, I'm so excited, and thank you so much, you know, for your time today. And I was trying to figure out, you know, today how we could close our show. And so I think I have the perfect indie spotlight artist of the week to, you know, the music to go with the mood of this show today. And so I'm going to thank you so much for your time. And I'm going to introduce our indie spotlight artist of the week. Her name is Whitney McLean, and she's awesome. She's awesome. You're going to love her. And Art, thank you so much for your time. I really, really appreciate it. So
well, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Awesome.
We got it done. Thank you, man.
We did. You're so welcome.
Blessings to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right.
I don't want to say what I got to say, but it's time for me to get this off my mind. It's probably obvious things ain't been the same, and I'm wondering if your heart feels just like mine. Oh, There's